Let's do this. Yes, let's do it. Number 10. Why we choke so easily. Ever feel like the human body is some kind of masterclass in biological engineering? Think again. The very first item on our list is a testament to the fact that evolution sometimes feels like it's just winging it, duct taping two systems together and hoping for the best. I'm talking about the absurdly bad design of our throat. You have a single tube, a shared highway, for both the air you need to breathe and the food you need to eat. It's like designing a road where cars and pedestrians are forced to share a single lane, and you have to trust a flimsy little traffic cop, your epiglottis, to make sure they don't collide head-on. Most of the time, this little flap of cartilage does its job, but every now and then, it decides to go on break, and a rogue piece of broccoli takes a wrong turn and barrels straight for your lungs. This is what we call choking, and it's less a medical emergency and more an epic design failure. It's the bodily equivalent of your computer blue screening because you tried to open two applications at once. You're trying to perform a basic, necessary function, and your body is like, "Whoa there, cowboy, one at a time. Do you want to breathe or do you want to live?" We're the only animal that can't breathe and swallow simultaneously. Number 9, the back pain express. Imagine a brilliant structural engineer who, for some reason, decides to build a skyscraper with its entire foundation resting on a single wobbly pole. Now, make that pole out of a stack of delicate, cushiony discs and a bunch of squishy nerves, and you've basically got the human spine. For a species that decided to stand up and walk around on 2 feet, our spine is hilariously ill-equipped for the job. It's a delicate S-curve of vertebrae trying to bear the entire weight of our torso, and for some brilliant reason, we've stacked our heaviest organ, our brain, right on top of it. Every time you lift a box, sit in a bad chair, or simply get out of bed in the morning, you're asking this poor, overworked structure to perform a feat of strength it was never truly designed for. The result? A lifelong relationship with what feels like a vengeful, tiny gnome living in your lower back, occasionally jabbing you with a hot poker for no reason. It's a literal pain in the back, a constant reminder that our ancestors probably should have stayed on all fours, or at least spent more time at the chiropractor. Number 8, fragile knees. We're a species of runners, jumpers, and general bipedal goofballs, but our knees are built with the durability of a porcelain doll's joints. The knee joint is an absolute marvel of bad design. It's essentially a hinge like a door, but for some reason we decided to add a whole bunch of tiny squishy ligaments and cartilage that are A, incredibly easy to tear, and B, heal at the pace of a sloth on vacation. One wrong twist during a game of tag, one slightly off landing from a curb, and you've just initiated a multi-month journey into the world of pain, crutches, and very expensive physical therapy. The knee is a testament to the idea that our bodies are not built for sport, but for gently reclining on a couch and contemplating the nature of existence. It's a joint that seems to be in a perpetual state of protest, quietly threatening to fall apart every time you ask it to do anything more strenuous than walking to the fridge. The ligaments are like the cheapest rubber bands you can buy, and the cartilage is about as durable as a stale potato chip. Your knees are basically a ticking time bomb of future regret, waiting for the perfect moment to remind you that your youthful exuberance was a terrible investment. Number 7, our terrible teeth. Your teeth are supposed to be durable, lifelong tools for chewing food, right? Wrong. The design of human teeth is a comedy of errors. For starters, we have wisdom teeth, which are essentially a biological prank. They're a third set of molars that are completely unnecessary for modern humans, and in fact, often cause more problems than they solve. They come in at an awkward angle, crowd your other teeth like a bad roommate, and often require expensive and painful surgery to remove. And while we're on the subject, let's talk about enamel. It's supposed to be the hardest substance in the human body, but it has the incredible flaw of being completely defenseless against a candy bar. One sip of a sugary drink or one night of forgetting to floss, and you've got yourself a cavity. Our teeth are like the most high-maintenance pets you've ever owned. They require constant cleaning and attention, they get sick easily, and they cost a fortune to maintain. Number 6. The human eye's blind spot. If you've ever thought about the perfection of the human eye, prepare for a dose of reality. Our eyes are wired completely backward. The photoreceptor cells that detect light are located at the back of the retina, behind the nerves and blood vessels that serve them. This means all those nerves have to bundle together and exit the eye somewhere, creating a literal hole in our vision. This is the infamous blind spot. Your brain is a master of compensation, so it fills in the missing information using data from the other eye and context clues. But the blind spot is there. You just don't notice it. It's like a computer monitor where a small patch of pixels has gone dead, and the software is just guessing what should be there. Imagine a car where the windshield has a permanent, tiny, opaque sticker right in the middle, and you just have to hope the rest of your view fills it in correctly. We're all walking around with a little bit of missing data, trusting our brains to make up the difference. It's not a bug, it's a terrifyingly bad design feature. Number 5. Our useless appendix. The appendix is the biological equivalent of a vestigial appendix in a book. It's just kind of there, a remnant from a past where it might have had a purpose, but now it's just a potential source of trouble. It's a tiny worm-like pouch attached to your large intestine, and in our distant herbivore ancestors, it probably helped digest plant matter. Today, it's a completely useless organ that serves no purpose other than to get inflamed, infected, and make you double over in agony. It's a ticking time bomb of abdominal pain, and if you're really unlucky, a life-threatening rupture. The only thing the appendix is good for is giving doctors something to cut out. It's the least useful organ in the human body, a biological landmine waiting to go off. Imagine if your house had a tiny pointless room with no door, no windows, and no purpose other than to collect dust and occasionally burst into flames. That's your appendix. Number 4. The larynx and the case of the dropped voice box. The human voice is a beautiful, complex instrument, but the design of the larynx, the voice box, is a hot mess. For some reason in humans, the larynx is located much lower in the throat than in other primates. This allows us to produce a much wider range of sounds, from deep rumbles to high-pitched squeals, which is great for things like singing and talking. But this comes at a terrible cost, a much higher risk of choking. Because the larynx is so low, food and drink have a much longer, more dangerous path to travel from the mouth to the stomach, increasing the chances of something taking a wrong turn and going down the windpipe. It's an evolutionary trade-off, the gift of gab for the risk of death by dinner. It's the biological equivalent of putting a sports car engine in a minivan. It might go fast, but it's going to break down more often. Number 3, our inefficient sinuses. The human sinuses. A beautiful example of how not to design a drainage system. These air-filled cavities in our skull are supposed to filter and humidify the air we breathe, which is a noble goal. But for some reason, they're designed with a glaring structural defect. The drainage holes are at the top. This means that mucus, dust, and all the other gunk our sinuses collect has to be pushed up against gravity to drain. It's like building a bathtub with the drain on the ceiling. When everything is working perfectly, it's a slow, laborious process. But when you get a cold or an allergy attack and your sinuses get inflamed and produce more mucus, you're in for a world of pain. The mucus can't drain, it gets backed up, and you end up with that crushing, throbbing pressure in your face that makes you want to live inside a tissue box. It's an architectural nightmare. a design flaw so laughably bad that you have to wonder if it was a dare. Number 2. Shivering for no reason. You're sitting inside, the thermostat is set to a perfectly comfortable 72 degrees Fahrenheit, but suddenly you get a full-body shudder. It's not because you're cold. It's just a random, uncontrollable spasm. What's going on? Well, a lot of our bodily functions are remnants of a more primitive time. Shivering is an involuntary response to cold, a way for your muscles to generate heat. But sometimes, this ancient programming gets a little glitchy and decides to fire off without a reason. Scientists don't know exactly why these random shivers happen. The theories range from a leftover neurological tic to a brief, harmless hiccup in your nervous system. Whatever the reason, it's a good reminder that your body is not a sleek, modern machine. It's a quirky, bug-ridden antique. It's the biological equivalent of a computer suddenly running a forgotten program from 1995 just for a second before closing it. Number 1. Our terrible gouty feet. Our feet are a masterpiece of over-engineering and terrible design. Consider the arch of the foot, a brilliant feat of biomechanics that allows us to walk and run. But it's also a trap. One of the joints in our big toe is a common site for gout, a painful form of arthritis. This is caused by a buildup of uric acid crystals, which can form sharp, needle-like shards in your joints. For some reason, this joint in our big toe is particularly susceptible. It's a genetic lottery, but for those who get it, it feels like 1,000 tiny knives are being shoved into your toe with every step. It's a literal design flaw that turns a basic human function, walking, into an act of agony. It's a biological punishment for a lifestyle that involves too much rich food and drink. A painful reminder that our ancestors probably didn't have to worry about a 5-course meal. That's all for today. Stay tuned for similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.